Bethany from So Northern Quilting, and as you can see, I am not in the studio. I am back home in my bedroom because there have been some flooding at the studio on this site, and all the power is turned off to make it safe. Have some water. That tastes funny. Anyway, in this week's video, I am going to show you how to make some improv flying geese, and for a zipper pouch, or just in general, I've made a zipper pouch. Well, the panels for said zipper pouch, and I'll show you how to make them, and this is what it looks like with the quilting, if you can see that. And it has been so much fun. I don't think they're really like flying geese, they're more like improv triangles, but they've been really fun and I've had so much fun making them, and I just wanted to show you the video for how to make it. So this is part one of making the zipper pouch. I was hoping to already have it all filmed and finished so I can show you a finished project, but with the power going off, I've not been able to. So I'm going to have to bring my sewing machine back home to do it at home. So I will be filming that part at home, if I can get round to it with all the angles, because obviously my desk is a lot smaller. My desk is literally this big at home, and I know I made it work before I had the studio, but it's like going from a mansion to a tiny house. It's not the same. So I just wanted to show you in this week's video that we're going to make the zipper pouch panels, and then in next week or the week after we are going to make the zipper pouch in full, so that will give you enough time to make the panels and get them sorted, and then we'll put the zip on and the lining and get it all sorted out and make an actual zipper pouch. Mine is quite big, so hopefully it should be able to fit all of my camera stuff in. And then I actually made another one that I'll show you at the end too, because I just need to put the zip on that. I need to quilt that and put the zip on, but I'll show you it in the second part of the video. And I'm going to use that for either pencil case or my makeup. I need a new makeup bag because the zip on there is just a cheap zip, and it's about 5 or 6 or 7 years old, and 3 years old, 4 years old, I don't remember. It's a few years old and it's had a lot of wear and tear, so I need a new makeup bag. But yeah, I really hope that you like this video, and yeah, let's get into it. Hello, I'm in the studio today and I'm going to make a zippered pouch for my camera, because it's annoying that the little bag that it comes in doesn't fit properly. Like, you have to put everything in a specific way, and then even then the stitches are pulling. So I'm going to make one. I've got the lining pieces here, and I've cut out the same size for no, that's just squares, but I'm going to use this lining piece to work out how big I need my fabric to be, and then I'm going to cut out from this black fabric the borders, because I'm making little mini improv little mini improv flying geese, which is so much fun. So what I've done is I've cut out all my triangles. I'm going to show you how to cut out the triangles and the background fabric, and so that I always have the point of the flying goose I always have the point of the triangle. I've cut my background pieces, the goose pieces, so the coloured part, not the black, to be 2 inches because the flying geese bits are 2.5, the background is 2.5. So I've got a bunch of the black pieces cut out. I don't know how many triangles I've cut out, but I'm just going to get through this big pile, and they're all different sizes. And I've just cut it willy-nilly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to do it on here. So what I'm going to do is, so this is my piece, and it is, oh, that is 2.5, nearly 2 and nearly a half. So what I'm going to do is, thank God I've got his sleeves. So bless me. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut like that. That's one bit, and I'm going to cut like that, and that's my triangle. And what I'm even thinking is I could cut it, I could have it be this way, could have it be this way, or I can have it the way that I cut it. So that's going on my pile. And I'm going to do another one to show you. Like that, and you can even cut another one. So I've got 2 out of that one piece. I'm going back to this one. Where is it? I don't think this one works. Like that. I've got another little triangle. So I've got, you can get 2 out of one piece of fabric. And I've even been doing out of 2.5 inch squares, you can get 1 piece out, but it's a bit awkward of a triangle. So then what you do, you take your piece that you've cut, let's take this one, and you lay it on your background fabric. And what you do, and I've been doing it with my ruler because it's easier for me to do it with the ruler, but you cut the one side, and I always cut the right side. That might be because I'm right-handed, I don't know. And then you cut the left side like that. Excuse my alarm. And then you have a little black triangle that you can use for other projects. And what you do is you sew this side, the left side first, and then you sew the right side. And that is because this is the shorter side and this is longer. See, that's shorter than that one. And that's how you get it to fit properly. I've not tried it sewing it the other way around. I've just been binging lots of YouTube videos and my improv books. Turns out I've got 3 improv books, so that's good. See, so what I'm going to do is, I've been doing my leaders and enders, my Stitch Bunny thread catcher fabric thing on first, so that it doesn't you know, the feed dogs don't grab your fabric and make it awkward. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the triangle over and make sure that it fits there, like that. I'm going to sew. The thread's caught because it's very thready, is this piece of fabric already. So got that, and I'm going to sew the triangle onto the fabric with a 1/4 inch seam. and then cut the thread and cut that thread and stick it back under. And I have tried without doing this scrap fabric in first, and it just ends up eating the fabric. So I'm going to sew a bit of that, and then I'm going to take this to the iron, and iron that, press that seam, and then press it back to the dark side and flip it over and make sure the seam is going that way. And then I put the clapper on it, only for a minute, for not even a minute or so, just until I can be bothered to not wait anymore. But I'm gonna, once I've shown you this one, I'm gonna do it all, chain it. So then you add this black piece, so it goes on like this, and I've just folded it over and joining it, lining it up there. Oh, hang on, I forgot to change the camera. So that's the piece we've got left that we're going to sew on. Flip that over so that it lines up like that. Take that to the sewing machine and join that with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Cut that thread, cut that thread. I'm going to trim that. I might get another fabric for that bit, and then I'm going to iron it again. And that is what we end up with, another little flying goose. And then what you can do is you can just make this bit straight like that, and cut that little bit off the top that's pokey outy, technical term. And then this is the first one I did, and then you can sew them together and you'll end up with them stitched together. So I'm going to put them finished ones to one side, and I'm going to put you in fast forward so that you can watch me get through this. I'm going to count how many of these fabrics I've got first, because I don't want to cut out any more unless I absolutely need to. I'm going to see how many triangles I've got, because I don't really want lots of the same colour. This is to go on both sides of my bag, but if I only have enough for one side of my bag, then I've got an idea for the other side. So I'm going to just move them 2 purple ones that are the same first of all. And I found my word search fabric, and I had a big enough piece to do a bigger triangle. So that's going to be a bit tricky. So what I'm going to do, because I want to keep the points, all I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut off a little bit of the bottom, and then I should have no problem with it being at the top there. See, there's plenty of space there, but just to be doubly sure, I've got to cut off another little bit there. So now that will definitely fit like that. And I'm trying to get them in the middle. That's what I've done on these 2 so far. They're more or less in the middle, but I'm not going to worry about it. I think the whole point of doing it improv is that it just, you know, it doesn't really matter, because you know, you're freehanding it. Yes, I am using the ruler to cut the black fabric, but that's because I'm not confident yet to do it without. But I don't see anything wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with using the ruler for little bits. And then I want you to tell me if you've got any ideas for these triangles. a project for the triangles afterwards. I'm wondering if they're more or less the same size. I wonder if we could make like a star or something. Although what I did do for the first one, I used the green fabric, but I didn't leave enough space at the top. But I used the black triangles with the leftover fabric of the pattern to make the block. So that's going to go in my improv quilt. But I'm wondering if we've got any ideas. If you've got any ideas, put them in the comments and we can figure out what to do with the leftover black triangles or background triangles. I want to use black fabric because then it will be less noticeable in the seams for my zipper pouch. But you know, if I was just doing them in my improv quilt, which I will do, I'll do some more. I think that using the coloured fabric as well would be a good way to do it. So I'm just going to crack on with these. What I'm going to do is I'm going to lay them out and keep them in an order so that the two background pieces are in order of the triangles, because I'm going to chain piece them all. So I think that's the best way to do them quickly, is if I try and chain piece them. So I'm going to let you watch me fast forward do this, and I'll let you know if the chain piecing works or if I get a bit confused. I think that what might be a good idea is so I've got this fabric that I've been sewing on to start with. I'm going to put a little piece of the fabric under the triangle. So what I'm going to do is I've got this is going to stay attached to the chain, and I'm going to put it, no, because it will be the wrong way around. I'm going to put this in my little pile I've got going on here, and then when I start, I'm going to put this purple bit on the second background piece, so then I know that when I get to cut it, attaching the other piece, I know that it's in order of this, if that makes sense. I think that makes sense. I don't know. What you could do is you could have several scraps of fabric to sew after each one, and then put a piece of fabric that matches onto that second background piece. I think that might be a good way to do it. I'm just cutting these threads off. I think after a couple more goes, this will be ready to put in the box for making stitch bunnies. That's what I originally started doing them as, by the way. Kate from the last homely house, she said she called these stitch bunnies instead of leaders and enders. So that's what developed into the stitch bunnies. You can see this is the first one, and I've got the pieces here. It's got the original bits like this, just sewn onto it. And then you take these and you sew them together and together and together until you've got enough fabric to cut out the triangles. So I will show how to do that if you want me to show you how to make a stitch bunny. We've been doing that in my workshops in person. So I'm very happy to do it as a video or probably as an online class, but only if you want to learn how to do it because it takes a lot of time to edit, and I'm very happy to do it. In fact, I will do it at some point, but I will put that more towards the start of my to-do list if enough people want to do it. Trying to get the little needles out. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to put you on fast forward now, and then we can get making all these flying geese. Sewn together all of the flying geese, and doing an arrangement on this is the lining fabric, just so that I know what size to make the panels for the outside, and I'm going to move them up slightly just so that I have a nice border on each side. But I think it's going to look really, really cool. I think it's going to be so much fun. And then I can take the measurement of this piece, which is about 3/4 of an inch, if my maths is right. I can measure properly. As an inch, about an inch. So that's good. And I'm going to make it bigger. I'll measure it again when I've sewn it together, so that I can, take into account for the seam allowance and whatnot. But I think it looks so cool. So I'm going to lay these other ones on top and get them into an order that I like. And then I don't want, these two are the same pattern, so I don't want them in the same one. And I just think it looks so cool. Improv is just so much fun. There's the same colour. Put that on. Put that on there. Put that on there. I just think it looks so cool, and I'm really excited for how it's going to turn out. That's okay. And then there should be another one. But I think I've got a spare. So, do I want to replace this with another one? I think that one was a bit dark. But I think it looks so cool. So that's going to be my spare one. Put that on my board. I just think it looks so cool. And they're so easy to make. And it's just really, really fun. So now I'm going to get to sewing them. So I'm going to take this and put it on this one. And then go down in the rows. And then do the next row underneath. And then press all them and go from there. It doesn't bother me if they're not in the same order afterwards. Because it's just... I'm just going to see how it looks as we go. So here we go. I've finished my panels now. This is number 1 and this is number 2, and I think they look so cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to quilt them, and I'm going to quilt them in black thread. I've got my black thread here, but I might use the I'm going to use this poly neon one because I want it to be shiny, so I'm going to use that. And then I'm going to use my rulers so that I go around the triangles. I don't want to quilt on the triangles because then it will hide the fabric, and I don't want it to hide the fabric. Let me quiet my phone. There. I don't want it to hide the fabric because I've spent ages doing these bloody flying geese, but I think they look so cool. I've also put them on fusible fleece, and I've put interfacing on the lining sections so that it's more sturdy, and I've got a little D-ring clasp thing for the zip too. So I'm going to do that, and I just think they look so cool. So I'm going to find my rulers and change the ruler foot, and then we can get to quilting, and I just think that they look so cool. So I'm going to do that now. you like this week's video and you have now know how to make the Improv flying geese, and it has been so much fun to make. I can't wait to see what you make and what fabric choices you choose. I think that would be really fun to see, so please send me your projects and see if you've got any other ideas for flying geese or for anything really. Whatever you want to make, what you're making your project in. I think it might be fun to make them a bit bigger and make a big bag, make a tote bag from them, and then you can have your zipper pouch going in your bag. I think that would be quite fun. So yeah, please send me pictures and stuff that you make. You can either send me an email or send me tag me on Instagram and stuff. I think that would be really fun that we can start making. And in sign up to the newsletter, because I'm going to do this in our zipper pouch class. I can't remember when it is off the top of my head, but I'll let you know in the newsletter that we're going to be making these things in real life, and I'll show you from beginning to end for how to make it. There might be a little bit of stuff to finish at home depending on how detailed your quilting is. But you could always just quilt one side and have a fabric on the other side. You don't have to have flying geese on both sides. But yeah, we're gonna do this sort of thing in the zipper pouch workshop because I think that'll be really fun. So yeah, I'll let you get on now. So I'll see you next week, and I can't wait to see your projects. Bye.